Fergus Maclennan, Partick Thistle Football Club Board Director. Thank you very much for joining me today in this latest interview for the benefit of Jags fans. As always, we'll start with you telling supporters a little bit about yourself, both as a Thistle fan and also from a career perspective, please.
Yeah, so Partick Thistle's been very much a constant in my life from an early age. I was brought up in Lenzie, and I was lucky that there was actually quite a lot of Thistle fans in the area who I quickly brought into my friend group if they weren't, I started getting into going along with the games. It was actually an old neighbour of mine, Stuart Mowat, who introduced me, brought me along to one of the games. What better introduction to Scottish football but taking along to the Firhill Shed. So still remember it very clearly, late 80s, as you can imagine. There was some scenes at that point, but yeah, just my love of the club really grew from there. Before I knew it, I wanted to go every week. Initially it was just home games, and then started to creep in away games as much as I could. By the mid-90s I was attending pretty much home and away, not missing a game. I loved it, and of course we then hit some really challenging times with, of course, Save the Jags, which at the time I was heavily involved in the fundraising at that point. I was also involved in the Save the Jags football marathon, 24-hour football marathon at Firhill Complex. So I was the youngest player playing there at 15 years old, and it was again, that whole experience just brought everyone together for me in terms of my love of the club, and to then bounce back from that the way we did, and obviously under the great John Lambie, the back-to-back promotions, it was just really special. We've had our fair ups and downs from there, but I've just really enjoyed the whole experience. It's been fantastic. As for me, my professional experience, I'm a chartered surveyor based in Glasgow. I've got over 20 years professional experience. I've worked for some leading independent firms and also some global businesses. I had a 5-year spell out in Sydney, Australia between 2009 and 14, which was a great experience as well. And latterly, most recently, I've been working with global firm Cushman & Wakefield, where I've headed up their Glasgow business space agency team. I've recently left Cushman's, and I've set up my own business, Adapt Commercial Property in Glasgow. So we're a niche commercial property agency, offering specialist services for landlords, investors, occupiers. So it's been great actually. It's just a whole kind of new experience for me running my own business, but I'm really enjoying it.
Fantastic, thanks very much for that, and we'll come back to that professional expertise in a moment. But personally, I can very much identify with your Thistle supporting journey, having kind of arrived at the same generation. So you've said, like me, you were a Firhill Shed boy. I'm sure next season you're going to have some sort of board duties and home match days, but where would we normally find you watching a Thistle home match?
Yeah, so like you, Brian, I remember you like way back in some of the old away days, but I found myself I've been in every part of the ground. Initially I was in the shed, and then started coming along to the main stand, and then Jackie Husband, and then most latterly joining in the sing-songs and the Lambie.
Fantastic. So. Good stuff. Right, we'll talk about your role now on the Partick Thistle Football Club Board. We've recently seen the appointment of a new interim chairman and 2 new directors. How helpful has that been for yourself and the existing directors in enabling you not only to have more support, but also perhaps to be able to spend a bit more time focusing on specific areas?
Yeah, look, it's a real positive move to add to the board. We're delighted. Obviously Dougie and Andrew have just joined, and Alistair Creevy recently as well, who's now interim chair. Dougie and Alistair are both vastly experienced businessmen. They've been really successful in their own careers, so it's great to add them. And obviously Andrew brings his own experience as well, being a chartered accountant and chartered tax advisor. So yeah, listen, it's great news, and it's all about having that strength in the boardroom.
And yeah, absolutely strengthened board it is. Tell us a little bit more about your own focus recently in supporting the new interim chairman and board.
Yeah, so I obviously bring my commercial experience and obviously my business network. So a big part for me has been looking at how I can bring that to the club. So I've been heavily, supporting the commercial team there in terms of, basically getting out there and our messaging and how we can bring support to the club, whether it be advertising, sponsorship, hospitality, you name it. I've obviously, on the property side of things as well, been looking at how we can better utilise the stadium. I think every club up and down the country has the same issue in terms of how do you bring in more revenue outside match day. So that's been an area we've been focusing on, and I've been leasing out parts of the stadium. There's been obviously the naming rights recently, which was announced, which was fantastic from Wire. Different initiatives like that's been great. We've also been supportive of the business club, which is it's a great initiative and something that we really want to get going and build momentum.
Yeah, and you touch on obviously the Wire Stadium at Firhill announcement a couple of weeks ago, and then only last week we saw the announcement of Reflex Blue signing up to another 2 years up the stairs in the offices, a deal you were involved in from start to finish. Talk us through that agreement specifically.
Yeah, listen, it was great to get that one signed up. Reflex Blue have been a fantastic tenant at Partick Thistle. They've been in just over a year now. It was initially a client of mine who were looking for office space in the city centre. I happened to talk them into considering other options, namely Firhill Stadium, and Colin Doherty, the managing director, he's been superb. He absolutely loves being at Firhill. The staff really enjoy it, and it's just been a really good fit. So I was delighted that they would commit longer term. Not only just to have him in the stadium, like financially it's great for the club, but also just widening our network as well. And Colin's been brilliant for that. He was actually instrumental in bringing Wire, for example, to Partick Thistle, and which led to the naming rights of the stadium.
That's great to hear, Fergus, and you've touched on that again, but what stood out was 2-year deal rather than a 1-year deal or shorter term. It must be significant for the club to enable both stability and kind of longer term planning as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about like driving revenues, and obviously it all goes into the budget as well, which helps Chris in the playing side of things. So anything we can do, we're working hard on that at the moment, just to see how we can further support and open up opportunities.
And I guess you, as everyone is finding at the moment, the way the team performed on the pitch in that kind of last month, and the way the fans really painted a positive picture of the club, must make these conversations that little bit easier.
It's been amazing, it really has. I mean, obviously, we don't want to talk about the disappointment of the playoff final, but joking aside, I mean, in terms of the way that everyone's come together and the atmosphere, it's been so positive. And yeah, absolutely, I think Partick Thistle are very much on the rise, and I think businesses want to be aligned by that, and I think that's something that we need to pull on. Absolutely.
So is that something that your businesses out there who maybe saw the Reflex Blue news and it's piqued an interest in what's available at Firhill, you guess you're delighted to meet them and talk to them, explore opportunities? Yeah,
absolutely. Always welcome that, and just to look at different initiatives that we could link up, and there's other areas of the stadium where there's potential, and we've got various conversations ongoing at the moment. So absolutely, if you're a business owner out there and you're looking to speak to us, then I'd really welcome that conversation.
That's great. We're happy to share that message, and reflecting on the past month, so much has happened at the football club, but so much has happened that is positive. What has brought you the most satisfaction personally?
I think like the way that seeing everyone coming together. I mean, there's been a lot that's been going on and off the pitch, but I think last season, with Chris Doolan coming in and the style of football we were playing, seeing the atmosphere in the stadium, growing numbers, and it was just amazing. And to be honest, that's something we just want to build on even further. We want to completely unlock the full potential of Partick Thistle, and that's something that, as a board, we're really keen to just keep progressing, and yeah, it's just fantastic.
And so say all of us. And finally, Fergus, last question, just with this video going out just days before the new season starts, and off the back of so much good news off the pitch, what message would you like to share with Thistle fans today?
I think for me, firstly, just thank you for your ongoing support. It's been absolutely amazing, and you know, I think we just would love it just to have that positive atmosphere home and away again next season, which I'm sure it will be, and just to keep positive, because we've got a lot to strive for here, and I think it's going to be a big season. I'm excited, like I'm sure everyone else is, to see everyone out there again in the new strip and get going. So yeah, just keep channeling the positive vibes, and let's all go for it.
Hear, hear. Thank you very much for your time, Fergus, and I'll see you in Peterhead.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Cheers.